Good morning and welcome to
Morning
Melodic
to you.
with Melinda. Hi, Renato. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you, Melinda?
I am fabulous. And to my viewers, I'm so excited to interview my friend, Renato Wakim. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me, Melinda. It's a pleasure and an honor to be with you.
You bet. Well, let me tell my viewers a little bit about you. You're an author, a philosopher, a connector, a wanderer, a business development executive, and multi-industry consultant, and you are a musician. Would you say that's correct?
Oh, almost.
Almost.
Or I'm not necessarily a philosopher. I'm not necessarily a musician, but I like philosophy and I love music.
Well,
I, I
I've read your books, and I do believe you are a philosopher. I think that you have a philosopher's look at life in a very thoughtful way, and I think you do that.
thank you,
So
Melinda.
to me, you are a philosopher. So let's start at the very, very beginning, Renato. Talk to us about being born and raised in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
São Paulo is a big city. I was born and raised. My parents come from Lebanese background. They never spoke a word in Arabic. When their parents came to Brazil from Lebanon, they came under the Ottoman Empire. That's 100 plus years ago. So there is a background on the Lebanese side, but Christian side quite different from other religions in the area. But we were raised as Brazilians, and until I started to travel the world, uh, that I could appreciate, what Brazil brings and appreciate what the world brings into my psyche, if you will.
So who do you believe had the greatest impact on your life and the optimistic and beautiful way that you connect with people and with your thoughts? Who had the greatest impact growing up on who you are today?
You mean figures
Yeah,
or
or individuals who
yeah.
in your life, people, members of your family, or and why they had the impact to help to shape the person you are today.
Right. Definitely mom and dad. My mom was an artist. She's 95 now. She's not painting anymore, but definitely she played a role in my appreciation for the arts, and my father in my appreciation for business, for exchanging. Both had a strong component of interacting with people and family and friends. So we captured that in a big way. I have three sisters, wonderful beings that we truly get along with. It's a great story. So definitely, it started in the house, in the home, and it expanded to teachers for sure, uh, musicians, definitely soccer players in some ways. And then it expanded. When I went to school and started to learn, who the influencers of philosophy and economics, which is the field I chose to study, would do for the wellness of people. Economics is the science of well-being, if you will, right? So there's a lot through this field that we can learn and capture and understand the world in multiple angles, from multiple angles and multiple ways.
So so Renato, you went to college in California. And while you were there, you played your acoustic guitar and you washed dishes at the now defunct Good Earth restaurant, which we all remember. Talk to us a little bit about that time, and was that right after you left your home country of Brazil that you went to California?
Yeah, I kind of wrote that extensively in my first book, and I definitely told the whole story. But in a nutshell, I went to Berkeley, California, to take classes for about a semester, and I met a lot of wonderful people that we become friends for life, and that was in 1980. So I was looking for a guitar, and I met incredible people that opened doors to me to mingle and visit places, take classes, interact with people from all over the place.
And you also traveled through Europe and you lived in a kibbutz, right?
Correct. Yes, that was part of the experience. I wanted to expand. It was the first time that I left the country was when I was 21. So I was really ready to rock and roll on on a backpacking uh, fashion, and that's what I did for over a year. I visited 30 countries. Ended up in a kibbutz where I wanted to experience the life collectively. Had great admiration for that kind of lifestyle. And again, meeting people was the major goal, Melinda. Always had the curiosity to learn and expand my horizons and nurture relationships. I have friends from 60 years. I have friends from 50 years, 40 years. So this is a treasure that I truly value, and I think cultivating is part of my DNA, if you will.
Well, it's very easy to be friends with you. I mean, you're an easy person to like. So I just want you to know that you're very easy to like and to love. So what brought you to Vermont?
So again, part of the book, it is in the book.
Well,
So
well,
my
we're gonna get into your book, but these I just want to know these questions, and then we'll talk a little bit about your book. So
right
talk
part
what's
of the first book, right?
yeah,
Part
right, the
of my
first book.
my
We'll
first
get
book.
into
So
that. But
so
I
so
want
in a
to go ahead.
no, I was going to say, so in a nutshell, I become friends with an American man that was going to the kibbutz for the third time. So the whole idea was uh, to do that kind of work that he wanted to do. So when I got to the kibbutz, they said, "Hey, you're going to do this job in a couple of weeks. James is coming from the U.S. and he's going to do your job." So just a temporary thing. So when James finally landed, we become great friends. And James is a guy from Pennsylvania that moved to Vermont in 1982. Uh, he went to Brazil a couple of times. I came here a couple of times. He went for the third time. I said, James, I'm going to bring the family and spend Christmas with you. And that was, January 1999 or Christmas 1998. Ended up not coming for Christmas, but we came for the couple of weeks. That it was an interesting situation. I had a consulting company in Brazil in exports, imports, and that particular 2 week time frame, Brazil had a major devaluation of the currency. And I just came to James and said, James, this is going to change. Will have to redesign my whole business. Maybe I can redesign it from here. What do you think? He said, why not? And that's the name of my first book, Why Not? So that is in honor to James's statement saying, hey, I'll give you the support. I'll give you the clues to you know, for you to restart your life in this neck of the woods. I loved Vermont for the first time. I loved the landscape, loved the inexistence of billboards on the highways. So those were things that contrasted big time with the experience I had in a big city like Sao Paulo that I wanted to bring to my family and for that, for them to choose. If you can choose, this is one side of things, and Vermont became, basically our home since 1999.
So
We've
let's
been there for 26 years.
so let's talk about your book. In
Mhm.
2018, your family home was destroyed by fire, and you used that upheaval to frame your memoir. Why not? Migration journeys, melodic strides, and quests for meaning. Talk to us about this experience and the epiphany that you had.
Um, 10 days after the house burned down, I sat down. I was in a hotel. A family was in a hotel in South Burlington. I sat down and I said, I'm going to write a book and tell this story to my kids. In hours, in 4 hours, I sat down and I wrote the entire outlining of the book. And it came very organically, very spontaneously. From that time on, it took me about 20 months to finish up the book. The book worked as an exercise of writing, but it worked as a therapeutic uh, tool to help us go through the period of we were experiencing through the burning of the house, the dilemma of reconstructing or selling the house. So it turned out that we did rebuild the house, and we rebuilt a beautiful house in Essex Junction. Uh, it was a I like to say that I embraced the experience more than I thought I would, because writing just helped me order my mind around the experience.
Thank you for that. So you state that you were always on a quest for meaning. Can you explain this to us, and how close are you to finding that meaning?
Sure. The book is a memoir, but not necessarily only a memoir. It's more than that. So what I tried to gather, Melinda, was I had quite a good exposure to the aspects of learning the meaning of phases of life. How do I put myself in this context? And in writing the book, I incorporated a couple of authors in this book that helped me situate myself in different phases. So they both divide our lifetime in 7 years. Every 7 years, something happens to us. A little before seven, a little after seven, but seven is a magic number that help situate in around experiences, you know whole process of growth, maturity, and then decline. So in a nutshell, I'll just bring that as an example. So every 7 years, from 0 to 7, life is considered to be good. From 7 to 14, life is considered to be beautiful. 14 to 21, life is truth. 21 to 28, life is sensation. From 28 to 35 and 42, life is organization. And then life mirrors, on the opposite side. 42 to 49, life is sensation again. 49 to 56, life is truth again. 56 to 63, life is beautiful again. And 63 onward, life is good again. So considering that, we used to live up to 70. Now we live much longer than that. But let's say an average is 70 years. So these two authors, they put that context in place. And then what I wanted to do is communicate in the book my experience and how it matched with that concept, and then offer the reader tool to look at themselves and say, hey, this is a valid or not a valid
Philosophy,
viewpoint. Right.
viewpoint. So now talk to us about your most recent book that's just been released. Every Day I Thank You. Tales of
Right.
Appreciation for Hands, Hearts, and Minds. And I just sort of wondered why hands is in there, but why is hands in there?
Hands is what we do with is our action hands, right? So it could be hands, it could be our solar plexus. It's our action, right?
So it's the
Uh,
physical aspect. It's the physical aspect of our humanity.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. And then hearts, obviously, and minds. So there's a unity between these triad, if you will, right?
So talk to us about this new book that you're just releasing.
Sure. So Melinda, just like the first book, this came very organically as well. And I like to think that if I write more, on a third book or a fourth book, it has to be an organic thing. Why? Because first off, I am not obliged to write it. I am compelled to write it because I feel there's a value to it, right? And I was, driving one day, listening to a particular song called "Every Day I Thank You" from a wonderful musician that I truly appreciate. His name is Pat Metheny.
Oh, Pat Metheny. Love Pat
Yeah,
Metheny.
yeah. So this is a song that he wrote in 1980, and intrigued me why he gave that name to the title, why he titled the song as such. So I did do quite a research, and I found out that one of the musicians Michael Brecker, was going through a hard time during that time. And Pat Metheny wrote that song specifically for Mike Brecker. And so his performance is, you listen to a nice tune 1,000 times, you always find something new about it, right? And that's my experience with the music of Pat Metheny, and that's my experience with that particular tune. Every Day I Thank You. So again, organically, I sat down, and in a couple of hours, I came up with the 9 topics of this book that prompted me to say, okay, every day I thank you, but I want to thank my fellow human being for valuing a few things that I do value. And if he does that, like I think every fellow person should do, his or her life, their life, will improve. So the themes are pretty, I like to think are substantial. They carry some weight, and I like to think that if we do our jobs as civil beings, our lives can be better.
Would you like to read a couple of lines from your new book called Every Day I
Sure.
Thank You?
Sure, absolutely. I have, kind of separated out a particular one here, and it's on page, um, page 148. It's called Grace Amazing. So, and here I tell multiple stories, and one particular story of a friend that's I'm not gonna spoil, but she has a great attitude towards her own life and towards other people's lives. She's a Burlington dweller. The reader will find out who she is as they read the book. But the title of this subchapter is Grace Amazing. There are many symbols for grace as well as there are multiple meanings. The ocean is one of its largest symbols, with shallow and deep currents permeating its never-ending motion. It may be unpredictable, but the motion of the ocean is a wonderful representation of the emotions tied to grace. Also seen as a symbol of stability, it is boundless, a place where one can easily be lost, and can therefore be seen to represent the unlimited span of our essence and the way we can navigate our journey through life. Quote, The polarities of movement and stillness inform my life, unquote. For the last 15 months, since finishing chemotherapy, exercise has been Abby's savior. Quote, the more I move, the closer I am to sane, and I am so grateful to get to work mostly on my feet. Breast cancer complicated my relationship with my body even more. I did everything right, took such good care of myself, and still I got sick. We were allies. At times, it's been difficult to celebrate my body, unable to touch it or even look at it. This is changing, and with a lot of grace, as medications and surgeries have made it look a certain way that is largely out of my control. My self-care is on fleek, and I love my body for its function and strength. Trauma is stored in the body, and it has taken me a while to get over the shock and fear, as well as the cutting and poking.
That's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
They're so beautiful, Renato. So I know that you recently had a very serious medical emergency, a
Mm.
medical event that happened in your life that was very challenging. And I don't know if you want to share it with our viewers, but you did emerge from that with renewed strength and purpose, I believe.
It's true, but definitely nothing can compare to such a serious undertaking that Abby's going through. But obviously, it had a quite a toll. So I had a combination of meningoencephalitis while visiting my mom back in March, which culminated in a 15-day um, ICU experience, which I had a major drop of oxygen that almost took me to the other side. That's how I refer to it. If it weren't for my wife Sylvia, I probably had major consequences of memory, cognitive issues, or even fatal experience. But she was there. She saved my life not only once but probably twice. Um, I ended up fracturing my shoulder in four pieces. Coming back to Vermont, I had to undergo a surgery that the University of Vermont did a great job. So my experience was, probably a little difficult, but I'm back. I'm strong. I'm recovering in a big way. Thank you, Melinda.
Yeah, and also our hearts go out to Abby. I hope she's doing okay.
Yeah, Abby is an amazing person. I think you meet her
I
at
would
some
love to
point.
meet her someday, but
Yeah.
give her our very best. Throughout your books and in your life, and just in how much I've gotten to know you as a friend, one of the big words that you use so often is gratitude. And so could you share with us a little bit with our viewers about what that means to you, gratitude?
Let me uh, let me read to you, Melinda, a topic on gratitude that I think will definitely encompass, and in the book. But I'll respond to you by reading this. Gratitude, the sheer theme of this book, is the return to the origin. It calls us to remember where we come from, to recognize the forces that sustain us, and to acknowledge our place within the broader network of life. It becomes a transformative force, guiding us back to our most fundamental connections with ourselves, with each other, and the universe at large. Gratitude closes the loop in the cycle of giving and receiving, creating a continuous flow that strengthens relationships, builds communities, and fosters a sense of belonging and unity. I think that's a good depiction of gratitude in many ways. So it closes the loop. It's the beginning and it's the end. Uh, Again, my experience, before finishing the book, I had written 90% of the book when I got sick. but it just reinforced the the need for us to cultivate this this phenomenon, which is gratitude in our lives. And think what it does to us. It's a healing tool and very powerful tool for us to go through the good times and bad times as well. It's not even call them bad times, but times that can be challenging.
And you do that with great grace, Renato. So I would like to hear from you regarding the future of our planet and our people. What words of wisdom do you have for many of us who are trying to protect both? We're trying to protect both the planet and our people and our freedoms, but you're finding it kind of a hard slog. But we're finding it a hard slog. What words of wisdom would you have for my viewers?
I captured that from what it is out there, Melinda. Nothing new from my side, but I like to look at the indigenous people as the foundation for the renaissance of our planet. They knew it. They knew it really well. What to do. We perverted and we corrupted that sense in so many ways throughout the past 500 years. We as humans, unfortunately, we did things that are hard to reverse. But if we touch on the basics of how to care for the planet, we need to go back and do the research as to how they saw the planet and how to avoid destruction of it. In one of the chapters about the environment, I bring up quite a few characters, and one of them is Leon Shenandoah from New York. And he used to be uh, the, the the representative of one of the local indigenous people, and he had a clear vision. If we destroy our environment, we're going to destroy the planet. Same thing,
The planet's going to survive. It's the species that's going to be destroyed.
right, right. And there's got to be a reason why we're here, because you know we are ultimately the conduits for its revival or for its destruction, right? So we need to learn that. And the other indigenous examples, and there's quite a few in this particular chapter. One is in Brazil. His name is Kaká Werá, whom I met a few months ago. Incredible man. He wrote 12 books. Uh, he's doing an incredibly smart work in order to, first off, bring the indigenous people in Brazil and show them as not indigenous only, but and not romantically as many people see indigenous people, but allowing them and you know rescuing their wisdom on the environment and how to help the natural environment so that this
Well,
can be projected.
well, speaking about Brazil, because we're coming sort of to the end of our show, but you must have lived through those times in Brazil when the regime that lasted from 1964 to 1985, 20 years, where people's civil liberties were suppressed and there was censorship of the media. And we're approaching this time in American history where there's a lot of concern out there that the authoritarian leaders and dictatorships could actually happen here. Talk to us a little bit about that. Were you alive during that period in Brazil?
Yeah,
Experience that?
absolutely. I was
So you must be concerned seeing what's going on in this country. You must be, right?
absolutely. I am in 1964. I was 6 years old. when that happened, and what appeared to be a healing process for the threat of communism in Brazil at the time has became at the time an authoritarian regime that governed the country for 21 years.
Yeah.
And it just took the country to directions that you know uh, delayed the progress of people in such a big way. Um, I think what we're going through right now, Melinda, is probably much more dangerous than what happened in Brazil at the time. Because at that time, you didn't have one figure. You have multiple figures, thinking that the best form of government, would be the military joint that would save the country, if you will. Right now, what we have is, we went back to Napoleon times, right? This is, a lot more dangerous, a lot more threatening to people's liberties.
Well, thank you for
And
that. We're getting close to this period of time in American history that
mhm,
I think we're all really on pins and needles right now. Well, we're coming to the end of our show, Renata. To my viewers, Renato Wakim has written two incredible books. One is Why Not? Migration Journeys, Melodic Strides, and Quest for Meaning. And the other one, which is just being released, I think this month, is Every Day I Thank You, Tales of Appreciation for Hands, Hearts, and Minds. And both these books can be found in your local bookstores or online if you go there, but they are in at all your local bookstores. So, Renato, I could talk to you forever. But unfortunately, our time is up. And I just want to tell you what a joy it was to have you on my show. And for me, and I think anybody who meets you, you're an inspiration and you're a deeply kind and loving person. And the light that you bring to your life and to others' lives is bright, warm, and illuminating. And I just think you're an absolutely beautiful soul. And I thank you for taking the time to write these two incredible books that everyone should read. Um, and I want to thank you for being on my show. I hope you come on again after you write your next book.
thank you so much, Melinda. It's been a pleasure. You know how I think about the work you do, and everything you said goes right back to you.
Well, thank you, my friend. And to my viewers, I really appreciate your time today. And I just want to remind you that on November 5th, you all need to get to the polls. So please do so. And if you need a ride, give a friend a call. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you, Renato. And I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.